Alright, this is our first day of having Project 81 Civic here in the garage. What we've decided to do today is to try some engines in the car. We actually brought 3 engines with us. We have a D16 from an 87 Integra. For our second motor, we have a B16 that comes out of this one, an 89 to 91 Integra XSI. By the way, that earlier B series transmission is just a little bit shorter than the one starting in 92, 93, and then the one that came in the Civics, JDM Civics and the Integras. We thought that would be a little bit easier to get in the car. And the last engine we chose was a K24. That's the tallest of the K series motors. They're all about the same width. It's a real compact motor front to rear. I'm hoping that it works out for us. We'll just have to see how it goes in. The process for putting the motors in the car is fairly simple and straightforward. Essentially, we put it on a cart and we level it out using some wooden wedges. Then we take the car and lower it over the engine. Once we do that, we can kind of see what the relationship is with the engine and the car, move it around on the cart if we need to, and get a good feel for what's going on. First up was the 87 Integra motor. It was probably the only one that's going to fit without a whole lot of modifications to the engine bay. We noticed that it has a couple of accessory pulleys on the engine that were interfering with the frame rail. If we lowered the motor low enough where we thought it belonged, there was a power steering pulley and an air conditioning compressor pulley that were kind of underneath the frame rail or on the side. It'd be relatively easy to buy a pulley that didn't have those kind of things on it. I think they're still available. Or you could take the stock one and just kind of trim those 2 pulleys off on a lathe. The other thing, of course, is to widen the frame rails and leave those intact, although we're not really worried about having AC on this car, so I don't really care if we cut it off. Next up was the B16 engine, quite a bit bigger motor. This particular engine was complete with the alternator and the intake manifold, so it was going to be, what we needed to put in a car if we're going to put it in. We lowered the car down over top of that motor. We found that like if you put this motor in an 88 to 91 Civic, the alternator, which is on the back side of the motor, actually is into the frame rail. The other thing is this motor's quite a bit wider, so the transmission as well was into the frame rail. If we're going to mount this motor in the car, we're definitely going to have to do some work to the frame rails, probably widen them out. The last engine up was the K series motor. This was kind of just a general fail all around. This car has kind of an interesting set of control arms. It's actually a sway bar that doubles as radius rods, and the mount on the right hand side of the frame rail is actually welded on, so it didn't allow us really to get the engine, get the car over top of the engine. We tried moving it down there, but it just wasn't even going to fit. We weren't even able to get a really good idea at all of how the fit was. So our results weren't totally unexpected. The D series motor kind of fits in there. It'd probably be the easiest one to put in. The B series is going to require a little bit of work on the chassis of this car. I've seen actually a lot of builds online where people have cut out the frame rails. The K series motor, really kind of inconclusive. We weren't able to try it in. Obviously it's going to take some modifications. The question is, how much modifications is it going to take? So we're left with trying to figure out what we're going to do for next week. I think I'll ponder that while I edit this video.